Alright, so you've got the tools installed and it's time to start actually doing stuff. What we're going to start off by learning about is actually Interface Builder. Interface Builder used to be separate from Xcode, but now it's kind of built in, so you won't really see the word Interface Builder anywhere. It's just learning how to do layouts with Xcode is what this chapter is really all about. So some of the things that we're going to learn is we're going to learn about making flexible layouts so that you can put things on a screen, but it'll actually look good on the 4-inch iPhone, also the 4.7, the 5.5, all the sizes in between. There's actually 4 different iPhones. We are going to focus on just iPhone for now. We'll get to where we do iPhone and iPad later, but for now we're doing just iPhone. So we're going to work on layouts that look good on all the different sizes of iPhones. And we're going to set it up such that if there are more sizes of iPhone come out, it should just work seamlessly, right? So the example we're going to do first is called color sliders. And I'll just kind of start off by showing a demo of what color sliders is all about. So it's a pretty simple app. So you've got an amount of red, an amount of green, an amount of blue, and then an alpha. So you can see that if you slide these numbers around, you can see that the colors change there. Should be pretty obvious how this app works. And what we're going to be focusing on is we're going to be focused on doing the layout such that it looks good on this is an iPhone 4. But if you were to switch the device, which you could do by saying hardware device, let's say we switched it to an iPhone 6 Plus, then it should actually look pretty good on a 6 Plus as well. So you can see that the sliders still take up the screen nicely, so they've actually grown quite a bit to be on the 6 Plus, but it still looks pretty good. And in fact, if we rotated, it will still try to lay out well on a rotated view as well. It's hard to do rotated views perfectly, but we're going to do the best we can so that it kind of lays out well. So that's our goal. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to just follow along with this. So you need to submit these whenever you're done with the follow-alongs. So you should actually make sure you do them. So just open up Xcode and say File, New Project. Or if you have it set up to where it's got that launch screen, you can click on New Project there too. Either way, when you get to this screen, what we're going to do is we're going to say Single View Application. And we're going to call it Color Sliders. It's actually okay to leave a space in the name. It works out fine. If you wanted to leave a space, that's fine with me. I will put a hyphen in the bundle identifier, but that really doesn't matter too much. Make sure you set the language to be Swift. We are going to actually be doing some code this time, so make sure you've got it set to be Swift. And then as for the device, we're just going to support iPhone this time. We'll do the iPad stuff later. And then as far as the company and reverse DNS of the company's name, you can put in whatever you want, but Rolls-Holman's a good thing to put in. After that, you can save it wherever you like. And then once it opens up, it should make a screen that looks like this. So whenever you select single view, you've got a main storyboard, except for your main storyboard is currently empty. If I hide some of my other windows, it looks like this. So we've got a nice empty storyboard. And what we're going to start doing is we're going to start adding things to this view and start making changes to it. One of the first changes you'll notice is that if you click on the view, we actually, instead of having a white background color, we had a light gray background color. And with as few changes as this, you can actually run it. I usually run it with Command R, and then it'll show up and it'll just show my nice gray screen here. So what we want to start doing is we want to start adding things to this view. One thing you might notice about this view is that it's not in the shape of an iPhone at all. And that's intentional. That's not a goof. It's just kind of a generic blob square. If you wanted to cheat, which we won't cheat much, but if you wanted to cheat, what you can do is you can select the view controller itself, and you can say size, and instead of using an inferred size, you can specify what size iPhone you're going to work on. So let's say you're working on the oldest iPhone, the 3.5 inch. Its size is going to look like this. And so now it kind of looks like it used to if you have done some of this stuff before. And then before I start dropping things in, I'm going to have to put my zoom back to 100%. That's just kind of required. There's some things that you can only do at 100% view. And if you wanted to, you could drop a label on here. And let's just go ahead and put in some text here. So this would be a color name here. And then the size, you could let it go ahead and be big. That would be fine. Or you could let it snap to it. If you want to let it snap to it, you can highlight it and hit Command equals, and then it'll shrink to the actual size of that text. And then we're going to have a label on the other side. And what this label is going to say is it's going to be the value of that slider. Now you may have noticed that the view we're creating right now looks a little different than the view that I showed you before. That's intentional. We're going to do some things here. So just follow along, put your 2 labels up there. And then below that, you can drop on a slider. So if I take my slider and I drop it on here, and it kind of looks like this. So this kind of represents my red color. And if I run it right now, what's going to happen is it's going to present these things, and it's going to look pretty good, right? So, I mean, it looks okay. Perhaps I smashed it to the top a little too high, but it looks pretty good. However, if I hit stop, and then I run this on a different device, so let's say instead of the iPhone 4, I run it on the 6 Plus, right? So that's kind of the lower end and then the upper end. What's going to happen is it's going to look kind of terrible. And the reason is that we're not using constraints at all. And what we've done is we've just decided these things in terms of an absolute layout. So we put it on with no constraints, and so that essentially puts it in absolute layout mode, which is how iPhone used to work, right? Because it used to be fine. All the screen sizes were the same. But you can see that we no longer get away with this anymore, right? So we have to start using a thing called constraints. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back to the inferred size. So that actually will get me in the best practice of thinking about this thing as a blob of arbitrary, rectangular shape, and then it's my job to add constraints to it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and slide this over a little bit. I'm going to bring it down just a touch too. And then what I'd like to do once I kind of get this thing reorganized, so now you say, hey, it looks pretty good now. And so now, I mean, this is obviously not the solution, just use the inferred size. If I run it now it's too wide. And in fact, I can't even see that 0.5 even on an iPhone 6. So if I ran it on an iPhone 4, it would look even worse. So the trick is what we have to do is we have to add a thing called constraints. There are a number of ways to add constraints. One is to click on, there's a little pen area down here. When you click on this, it adds constraints. So if I wanted to lock this guy to the upper left and the upper right, it would lock him into those places. So I could say add constraint. And if I click on this guy, I could lock him to the upper right. And so now, if I go onto a different screen, it'll look pretty good on that screen. You can see that this one's yelling at me. It's because you have to fully define things. And that's because it's width. It doesn't know if it should snap to the size or if it should let it go a little bit bigger. And so you have two options on this. One is, you can make the box a little bigger than you need, or you could let it snap to the correct size. If you want it to snap to the correct size, you just have to hit Command equals. Sometimes I find that clicking off of it and back on works out better. And so now that guy would be snapped to the upper left. His width and height would be snapping to whatever size he is. This guy would be snapping to the upper right, and his width and height would snap to whatever size he is. And then this color slider, what we're going to need to do with him is we're going to need to set his top, his left, and his right, and then he'll just stretch to take up whatever space he needs. We don't really need to set a height for him because it'll actually be set for us. Now you could run it on a number of devices, and that would work out great, but there's a faster way. The faster way is called the preview area. So you can click on these two little circles to show the assistant. And then the assistant, you can show the preview, and you can see what it'll look like on different devices. So what you can do is you can add a couple of devices. So we'll go ahead and add an iPhone 5.5. You can see that it's laying out nicely on this size, and it's laying out nicely on this size. There's actually no reason to run it on multiple devices and keep seeing the result. So it's really nice that you can actually just use this preview. So I recommend you use this preview pretty heavily. Once you've got one of them done, what you can do is you can go ahead and start duplicating. So one way to duplicate is to highlight all of these items, to drag them down, and then hit Option. And what that'll do is that'll make a copy of them. So I want a copy for there, I want a copy for there, and I want a copy for the bottom as well. And so what these are going to represent is it's going to represent red, green, blue, and then alpha. And what you can do is you can see what this is going to look like on your previews as well. So you can see that right now I haven't really added any constraints. And you can see that it looks like a disaster. So it's tried to lay some things out a little bit, kind of, sort of. But you can see it's messed up all the sliders, and it's messed up all the views. See if you can go through and see if you can add the constraints that you need to make this thing work. So hopefully you're able to knock that out. So I went through and I added, like on the labels over here, I added top and lefts. The labels over here, I added tops and rights. And then for the sliders, I added left, right, and top constraints. And I just use that pen thing all the way through. There are different tricks, but that pen is really all we needed. And so if you look at the previews this time, what you should have succeeded in doing is making something that kind of lays out like this on the iPhone 4, and then on the iPhone 5, it kind of looks like this. Now, one problem that we actually have is if somebody rotates this right now, we're trying to make a view down here, and if you click on this rotate button, you can see that what that's going to do is with the layout that I've got here, it's actually going to lose all the space at the bottom for that view. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to change our UI some, because, I mean, it doesn't matter if we support landscape, but we can in this app. So we're going to change our UI some, and we're going to make it to where even in landscape, we can see that view at the bottom. But we'll do that next time. So come back next time, and we're going to fix this guy up. See you then.